Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Jill Clements, and I'm the founding senior minister here, and I'm delighted that you've come to visit us today on Christmas Eve. It's a special time this morning in our service. We're going to shake things up a little bit. We're going to have a little different order of service than we normally do. We are going to be doing what's called a Taize service today. And Taize is a time where we have a lot of meditation, silence, there's chanting, there's prayers, and there's some talk. So we're going to be doing all of that this morning, and I have my lovely co-speaker today, and our practitioner, Lori Frisbee. Lori is also a ministerial student, so she will be assisting in our process this morning. So you get to hear from somebody besides me today, which is always fun, I know. And I want to welcome everybody again that is here today. And if you're with us for the very first time, we welcome you. And whether you are just visiting with friends and relatives, or whether you're checking us out to see if this might be someplace you would like to come and play in spirituality for a while, we welcome you. If you are brand new, we have a gift for all of our first-time visitors. We have a welcome packet. And in that is information about our teaching. There's a Science of Mind magazine, and some other things in there for you. If you raise your hand, Annie will be happy to bring you one this morning. Any first-time visitors that would like a new welcome packet? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, as Annie is doing that, I would like to introduce to you our musical guest artist this morning. And Rob DeFreese has been with us before. He is playing with us again today. He's a professional singer, songwriter, and Arizona native. And he returned to Arizona in 2015 after 12 years away in Atlanta, where he was a staff musician at the Atlanta Unity Church. And as a songwriter, he plays his own original songs that he describes as mellow alternative rock. And when he's not writing, teaching, or singing in a spiritual center, you'll find him playing bass and singing vocals in a local rock band. And you can find his CDs on CD Baby and Amazon. So we're delighted to have Rob back with us. He'll be playing a song for us in just a couple of minutes. And I want to also acknowledge our practitioners in service. We're doing all this stuff now. See, we're having a different service, right? You guys are like, what is she doing? Our practitioner today is Suzanne Gildersleeve, and Suzanne was here 20 minutes before service to lead our meditation time. That's open to everybody. If you've never meditated in community before, I invite you to experience that next week. Come in about 9:40 and be with our practitioners and ministers as we set the tone and the space for meditation. She then is going to be in High Watch. And High Watch is her holding the light, holding the space for us, and prayer and meditation throughout our service this morning. And then after service, she'll be available to you for prayer. If you've never prayed with one of our prayer practitioners, I invite you to visit with Suzanne. She will, I promise, deliver a powerful prayer for you this morning. And you can also leave a written prayer request that she takes home and does the prayers at home if you would prefer to have the prayer that way. But right now, she's going to come forward and do a little reading for us, and also open our service this morning with an affirmative prayer. Suzanne.
Good morning, everyone. Whoops, I'm not going to turn this on. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Reverend Jill's picked the reading this morning from this Joyous Living Journal. And the subject is prayer. Prayer is the way your soul praises life and remembers your place in the universe. Prayer is a way to co-create with the infinite presence and power, joining your heart with God's, your will with life, and your dreams with the future. Prayers align you with the truth, and prayer aligns you with the truth and allows you to bring that truth into being. Pray every day. And from Dr. Holmes, prayer is nothing but a mental attitude. Prayer is nothing you eat, nothing you smell, nothing you taste, nothing you feel. but you cannot pray without thinking. Every word is an audible expression of thought, and therefore the ultimate essence of prayer is your thought. It is nothing but a simple and direct positive believing, a mental attitude. So let's pray together. We're just so grateful to be in this space where we recognize the truth that there is one God, one Spirit, one presence, one love. And we are so grateful to all be unified with that knowing that as we realize and we recognize and we pray and we treat and we change our thinking, that we change our lives. So we are so grateful for this beautiful service today that Reverend Jill and Practitioner Lori have prepared for us. I just ask that each and every one of us open our hearts and our minds for this beautiful service today. And as we bless this service and bless all the hands that prepared this service, we bless every service all over the world and all the people that are gathering to take time out to celebrate the spiritual life as they choose. We just honor the diversity of life. We're thankful for all the hands that put the service together, and we know that this is a good day, a beautiful time to be together. So we just release this with a grateful heart and thankfulness for all that the year has brought to us as our community of Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. We are so grateful. So we just say together, and so it is.
Following the star, seems I've spent a lifetime just discovering where you are. And now though I stand by the cradle, I anxiously await the awakening of the Christ. Crossing endless desert, seeming endless thirst, where justice seems to be eluding me and those who do their worst. With all the wrong turns that I took, how did I still find you? Unless at last the compass of the soul points to a north that's true. Wishing you were here to speak, I suddenly recall the challenge that you brought to me, the weight before us all. Am I awake or dreaming, following the star? Seems I've spent a lifetime just discovering where you are. Now though I stand by the cradle, I anxiously await the awakening of the Christ. Most of my life I have been told I must be saved, but the salvation lies in how I believe but not behave. Well, I have one more step to take. If error is but sin, then show me how to sin no more. Awakening within, wishing you were here suddenly recall the challenge that you brought to me, the weight before us all. Wishing you were here to speak, to suddenly recall the challenge that you brought to me, the weight before us all. Am I awake or dreaming, following a star? Seems I've spent a lifetime just discovering where you are. Now I stand by the cradle, I anxiously await, awakening of the Christ, awakening of the Christ, the awakening of the Christ.
Thank you, Rob. That was an original song that Rob has written around the Christ consciousness and awakening the Christ consciousness within each and every one of us. So one of the practices of the science of mind that makes us unique in the world faith traditions is our affirmative prayer, our scientific prayer, as Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Centers for Spiritual Living and the author of The Science of Mind, that was what he called it, because he said it's a scientific process. If you ever do anything in a laboratory, it has to be repeatable, right? And that everybody has to get the same results. And that was how he described the affirmative prayer process that he created on some levels. It's 5 steps, and it is repeatable, and it works when we believe, right? According to our faith that is done unto us. So we have prepared our service today on the platform of our affirmative prayer, based on those 5 steps. It is a very powerful tool that we have in our teaching, a tool of transformation. And we'd like today to just go a little more deeply into each one of those steps and perhaps reflect on them a little bit during our Taize service. And as I said, Taize is a time of stillness and silence and reflection. And it's also a time of chant and song. And you are invited to participate in any of that at any level that resonates with you. If you just simply want to be still and receive, that's okay too. So enjoy the service, and however it brings forth the light within you. We're going to be talking about light today some more as well. So we include the prayers in our service. You heard a lot about that in the beginning when I first got started in introducing our practitioner of the day, Suzanne, and the roles that she fulfills here for us in our community of meditation and prayer time and prayers that she takes home and live prayer with you. And all of our classes teach this affirmative prayer. It's a powerful, powerful tool, something that's very important here. And if you recall, the 5 steps are recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. And we're going to go through those this morning. So in the recognition, we recognize that God is all there is. And that's probably the most simple recognition statement that we have. It's powerful, isn't it? But is it enough to just simply say that? In our humanness, do we get what that means? And I'm going to suggest that usually we need a little more language to expand us into that awareness of what this infinite, unconditioned, unconditional presence of love, harmony. I love Dr. Ernest Holmes talking about the harmony that is God. There are no discordant anythings. There's nothing but God. There's not God and something else. So we move into that phase of it, of recognizing. It's really a remembering, isn't it? It's really a remembering. It's stepping out of our world of effects and our busyness and be still and know. Remember we talked about that and how the Aramaic translation is return. Return and know. And there's almost an opening that we can begin to feel as we do that. And I like to describe this step as not that we're trying to convince spirit to do something that it's unwilling to do, right? No, we're just stepping in to be available. We're stepping into that recognition. And I think of it sometimes like stepping into a warm bath. You know, that first step into the tub, you begin to immerse the body in that warm water. And it almost feels like we become one with it. And there's a relaxation that begins to come with that, and a peacefulness that begins to come with that. And that's a similar feeling that we begin to open up with in our recognition stage of our treatment. Now, my experience has been that we all want an experience of the presence of God. That many of us seek that. We may not know that's what we're seeking, but in reality, I believe that's what we're seeking, is an experience of that which is greater than we or our conditions. Something that is wiser, perhaps, than we are. Something that is more infinite than we are. And that is our experience with the divine. So our question today that I would like to take us into contemplation about for just a few moments is, where is God for you? When I ask you, where's God? What is your initial response and reaction? God is all there is? God is all there is? God is all there is? Where is God for you? What's the address? Where is God for you? So as part of our Taize, as I said, we'll have moments of stillness and silence. And I'm just going to invite you to go into the stillness for a few moments and contemplate that for yourself. Where is this thing we call source, this thing we call spirit? Where for you is that located? And we will come out of this into our first chant. And again, you're welcome to participate or just enjoy.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, Spirit divine. Holy, come to me. Holy, feeling holy. Holy, healing me. Holy, open my heart. Holy, allow me to see. Holy, beauty and love. We are holy, lives in me. You are holy, holy, holy. 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 I am holy, Spirit divine. Holy, come to me. Holy, feeling love. Holy, healing me. Holy, open my heart. Holy, allow me to see. Holy, beauty and love. We are holy, surrounding me. I am holy, holy, holy. 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 We are 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 holy, holy, holy. I am 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 holy. You are holy. We are holy. I am holy.
Good morning, everyone. I don't know about you, but I just feel the hum. I feel the energy. So we enter our second step of treatment, of unification. It is where we draw down from the macrocosm into our individual selves and recognize that we are part of the divine, that every single creation, visible in form or not yet seen, is the divine, and our essence is essential. I like to think of unification as a bond. It's an acronym for being one, now divine. It is where we recognize our oneness with that infinite presence. There is no separation in God. There is nothing outside of God. Therefore, I am God. All that is God. Peace and harmony and joy and vitality and wholeness. I am all of those things. I am one with that infinite presence. No separation. It is the divine expressing and experiencing life through me, individually, uniquely, powerfully, perfectly. God knows itself through me, and it knows itself through each and every one of us gathered here this morning. God is and I am. As I know this wholeness for myself, I know that each and every one of us are expressing the divine uniquely and individually. And I can know it for each and every one here. In a moment, I'm going to invite you up and we're going to light the unity candle. And we're going to light the individual candles. And this is a symbolic demonstration that out of the one comes many. And as we go through this little exercise this morning, realize that we're going to take that act of drawing from the one into the many, and then we're going to carry that light out into the world. Because each of us is the divine expressing. From the one to the many to all. Because we are all infinitely connected. So, if you'd like to begin, I'd like to invite you to come up and we'll light the candles.
I am remembering
moments in the stillness and in the silence. If you want to reflect on the candlelight, I'll ask Carson to dim the lights for a couple of moments as we just reflect who I am.
God is life and I am life. God is life and I am life. God is light and I am light. God is light and I am light. God is joy and I am joy. God is joy and I am joy. God is love and I am love. God is love and I am love. God is peace and I am peace. God is peace and I am peace. God is beauty and I am beauty. God is beauty and I am beauty. God is power and I am power. God is power and I am power. God is good, yes, God is good. God is good, yes, God is all these things God is. All these things I am. All these things God is. All these things I am. All these things God is. All these things I am. All these things God is. All these things I am. God is good.
God is good. Yes?
Yes.
Carson, you can bring the lights back up. Thank you. And we move into our next step, which is the power step of realization, right? As we move through those first two steps of treatment, where we recognize the infinite as the one, as the wholeness of all that is, and that we are of that, we're back into alignment with our true self, aren't we? We have begun to realign with our wholeness at that point. So at that point, when we speak affirmatively, our word in that realization step is like, well, of course. Of course. If God, the source, is all that is, and I am of that, then why would not anything I could think of in my life that needed healing, clarity, manifestation, why would that not be there too? Remember my example last year talking about the biosphere in Tucson and how it was a contained system and everything was in there. It's the same. That's a really microcosmic view of the macro, but that is what we're talking about here. We are so far into alignment with the truth of our very being at that point that speaking our word powerfully is really just affirming and accepting that for which we are praying at that time, whether it's peace, whether it's wholeness, whether it's health, whether it's healing, whether it's more abundance and flow in our life. When we speak our word in that moment, there's a knowingness that exists within us because of that alignment of the truth of what we're saying. There's a knowingness that is within us at that point and that time. And we are taught that we treat for, the things that we treat for are the experience. So we don't treat for the little red sports car because I know it's going to make my hair fly and look cute, right? I want the experience. It doesn't have to be that little red sports car. And yet Ernest Holmes also said, if you need $100 to pay your rent, treat for $100 to pay your rent. So it is the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. We hear that from the biblical scriptures. And it's very true that it's all ever available, waiting for us in the mind of the divine, in the mind of the infinite. And the only way we come up with our ideas is through that expression, through us, right? So of course it's all already there. It's up to us to receive it. It's up to us to receive it. It's been interesting as I have put on some age, I have begun to seek experiences in life as opposed to things. I know tomorrow morning, right? We got a lot of things are going to be opening up under our Christmas trees, perhaps, sharing that. But isn't sharing the experience of family and friends what we remember? Do you remember what you got last year for Christmas, what you unwrapped? What was in that gift bag? You know, maybe, maybe not. But I bet you remember the experiences, who you spent the time with, who was around, who you connected with. You know, many of my friends now, it's like, forget the presents. I don't need another sweater or another bauble. Let's go to lunch. Let's go play golf. Let's do something. Let's spend some quality time together. Because that's what life is made up of, isn't it? It's the moments of time that we share. And that's why we come together here in our community, is this idea of sharing. You know, when I came together with this community in 2015. One of the reasons was I was tired of watching services on the internet. I love that opportunity to be able to listen to some of our great speakers around the world, but I need the connection. I want the energy. I want to see you keep up with what's happening in your life. And I've heard that from many of you as well, that that's an important component of community, is the connection that we feel with each other, that experience of each other. So, like I was saying, the realization, by the time we have arrived there, it's like the aha moment of course, there's such clarity around that for us, to know that we are now in that one mind. Now the key in this is that Ernest Holmes always taught about, is that the faith that we have in the power of our word is the juice of the prayer. That's his word, the juice of the prayer. And it's our belief, right? It's done unto us as we believe. It's our belief that we have about the manifestation of that. Now, many of us, I hear sometimes conversations where we have a prayer, yes, I'm anchored in that, and then we go tell our friends why it's not possible to have that in our lives. Or we complain about why we can't have that in our lives. And that's the idea of pray without ceasing. Stay with the prayer. Stay with the idea of this affirmative acceptance, the realization stage. Stay with it. Stay with it until it shows up and manifests in form in your life. So we realize that we are united in the one. We realize that in this step, that we are united in the one. And we also realize that we are the light of the world. Because God is the light, and we are of that same light, yes? We are of that light. And ours is to go forth and shine that light. We come together and we have one flame, just like we had here earlier. We had one flame, the unity flame that we lit. And now look, did you see that when the lights went low? How beautiful that light was that was shining with all the lights that we have now illuminated. When we come together and shine our light together, we can illumine the darkness. And that's ours to do. That's ours to do, just like we've done here. This is a beautiful example of the light of the world that we are. When we come together, we increase the brightness of the world. We increase that, and that's ours to do today.
There is a candle in every soul, some brightly burning, some dark and cold. There is a spirit who brings a fire, ignites a candle, and makes it whole. Carry your candle into the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Hold out your candle for all to see. Take your candle, go light your world. Take your candle, light up your world. Frustrated brother, see how he's trying to light his own candle some other way. See now your sister, she's been robbed and lied to, still holds a candle without a flame. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the lonely, the tired and worn. Hold out your candle from all to see. Take your candle, light up your world. Take your candle, go light your world. 'Cause we are family, whose hearts are blazing. So let's raise our candles, light up the sky, praying to the Father, and Jesus, give us a beacon in darkest time. Carry your candle, run to the darkness, seek out the helpless, deceived and poor. Hold out your candle for all to see. And take your candle, light up your world. Carry your candle into the darkness, seek out the hopeless, confused and torn. Carry your candle for all to see. Take your candle, light up your world. Take your candle, light up your world.
So now we move into
And I know for myself, sometimes I just say, oh, thank you, or I'm so grateful. But I'd like us to pause a little bit and just really deepen into what it means, this step called Thanksgiving. It is really our soul recognizing the Creator from which we sprang. It is really deepening into our awareness of every moment of our lives. It is appreciation for all of our circumstances, all of our conditions. And when we can breathe in and breathe out and come from that place of just receptivity for all that is around us, that flows through us, that is before us or behind us, that which falls from the heaven out of the blue, that which rises up from the earth. You know, gratitude may come as a sigh of relief. It may be a sense of wonderment or awe. Gratitude might be just observing the progress that we've made. For that little nudge of spirit that had us turn left instead of right. Sometimes it's hard, I find it hard, to look at the challenges in my life and be really grateful until I anchor into that step of Thanksgiving. And I realize all of it is God. God is. I am. Each one of you is. And every condition I've experienced this year, every moment, every nuance, every breath is God. Eckhart Tolle tells us, if the only prayer we pray is thank you, that would be sufficient. It is our soul thanking God, thanking ourselves for this precious gift of life. I am so grateful.
Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around me. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me. Gratitude behind me. Gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, so grateful. I'm 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 so grateful.
Well, this next step seems pretty easy, doesn't it, after all of that? It's release. Just release. That's our final step of our affirmative prayer, is the release piece of it. And we sometimes wonder why we do that. Has anybody ever seen those t-shirts that says, anything I ever let go of has my claw marks in it? Yeah. Once in my garage, I might think that about me sometimes, but it's not true. It's not true. But release, that's what it's about, is releasing any attachment that we may have to how this prayer is going to be made manifest, or the timing in which this prayer is going to be made manifest, or the process through which this is going to be made manifest. We release. We release to that infinite presence that we know is a little bit smarter than we are, that has a few more resources maybe than we do. Because we only know from our limited human perspective. Not that we're not all brilliant already, but the divine may be just a little more brilliant. So, our release is a little bit like putting a message in a bottle, or taking one of those little boats on the canal where we do I guess it's the ducks, they put on the little canals here. And you just drop it and let it go. And we release it. And we let that be. And the purpose of that is to really anchor our own awareness. Remember I said this was a logical process that leads to the logical conclusion. And Holmes was very much a logical person, which makes sense with the religious science of mind, right? And so that idea of releasing is telling us in our minds to let it go, let it be. You've aligned, you're back in your wholeness, you're back in your alignment, you've spoken your affirmation, you've already expressed gratitude that it's made manifest. You're grateful, you're done. So just let it go. You're telling your mind nothing else to worry about. You don't have to worry about it, you don't have to tell a story anymore, you don't have to think about it anymore. Release. And there's a in that stage, isn't there? Just it's almost like a burden. I've prayed it away. I release it, I let it go, I let it be. And that's what we do in that step of our treatment. And I think Karen Rucker has some words about this. So we're going to listen to Karen for just a minute. So that's the feeling. That's the feeling. So that is the 5-step process of our affirmative prayer treatment in the Centers for Spiritual Living. And I know that it works in many of our lives. It works in my life, and I know it's working in the lives of many of us here. And we have on the back manifested prayers. And I want to share some of these. I'm not going to share your names, but I am going to share the prayers. We have one that is a healing of a foot that had been an ongoing problem for 8 years. We have peace in family and relationships that have been an ongoing challenge that is now healed. We have a wonderful circle of friends that has now been manifested. We have gratitude for being 3/4 of the way through achieving a New Year's resolution. It's gratitude along the process. Grateful for a new granddaughter being healthy and well. Grateful for cancer being in remission. Grateful for the manifestation of a new car. Grateful for the manifestation of releasing the habit of smoking after many, many years. That's just a few of the ones that we see come through our community of the manifested prayers. Prayer works in our lives, and that's why we make such a big deal out of it. And if you're interested in learning more, we have Foundations class coming up in January. Shameless plug. So that concludes this portion, and I want to conclude this portion by putting this all together. By putting together all 5 steps of our treatment in an affirmative prayer for you this morning. And I'm going to invite you to think about what it is that your prayer for yourself or someone else is this day. And if you can condense that into one word, I'll pause in the realization statement to allow space for you to speak that word. You can all do it at the same time. You can do it individually. I won't leave too much time there, so jump in. If you would like to speak your word, taking your thoughts into form, as Ernest Holmes said in the reading this morning. So I invite you to join me now as we anchor this entire service into an affirmative prayer. So how good it is that we come together in this place, in this space, for the purpose of connecting heart to heart, soul to soul. As we recognize that there is only one power, one presence, one life, and that life is God, which is the source of all. It is that place of infinite wisdom. It is intelligence, intuition. It is infinite. It is a place beyond condition. It is a place beyond effect. It is the cause. And as we know that this is the infinite harmony of all that is, it is the life source of all that exists. We know that it is in, through, and as all of its creation, for if it is all, it can be no other way. So therefore, I know that I am of that which is the divine, is that whole, perfect, and complete spirit. And I am a manifestation of it, uniquely made manifest as only I can be revealed of the divine. And as I know this truth for me, I know this truth for and about each and every one here this day and within the sound of my voice, knowing, claiming, and accepting that we are that one. We are of the divine source. We are of that divine harmony, that wholeness, that peace, that truth, that infinite and unconditioned love. We are that which it is. So from that place of unity, it's so easy to know and to realize the truth and the wholeness about each and every one of us here this day, and knowing that whatever needs to be healed, revealed, clarified, circulated, brought forth as creativity is done so now in this moment. For that is the way. The word spoken is the word made manifest. And I open this time of realization open to each of us this morning to speak our word into this service now.
Expression, peace.
Continued growth, increasing prosperity, love, and joy.
self-acceptance.
Gratitude.
Releasing all doubt.
Abundance.
And I reaffirm each and every word that was spoken here today as truth, as wholeness, as spirit and form. Knowing the full manifestation of each one of these prayers as it has been lifted here this day, I am filled with gratitude and thanksgiving for the knowingness of the manifestation of each and every one of these prayers that has been lifted this day. For I know that the word spoken is the word made manifest. So I release this prayer into the activity of mind, the action of the law. I release it. I let it go. I know there's nothing else for any of us to worry about, talk about, be concerned about. For we have spoken that word powerfully into the activity of the law. It is already done in the mind of God. It is already done in the thought. And now that we speak the word, we have started the process forward into the manifestation of that, into the full and whole expression of who and what we are as that aligned wholeness with and of God. So I let it be, I let it go, and we affirm and accept this together by saying, and so it is. Thank you all. Well, it concludes our Taize service, and it's time in our service for circulation of our good through our offering this day. And I shared a little bit on Thursday night, I shared a lot actually on Thursday night at our candlelight service about everything that we've done in this community, and it was just so thrilling. Many of you have received a note from me about the things that we've accomplished and some of our goals for 2018, and we've done a lot in our community. We have helped a lot of people outside of our community with food drives and stocking food, and Amos, we gave him a wonderful Christmas. We made blessing bags. In fact, one of the volunteers this morning said, we don't have any more. It's like, no, we gave out all 75. They've all been circulated to those without shelter. The things that you've done this year are just beautiful. So thank you for that. We've had fun. We've had fun with friends. We've had brunch bunch. Lots of social time to connect and get together. And we are planning some fun things for 2018. We have a very robust education calendar that we're putting together and committing to this year. So I hope to see all of your smiling faces in class this year at some point. And we also are looking to create our music ministry, to have our band leader here with us this year to begin building our house band, as it were, for Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. So I invite you to step into that with me, and let's co-create that together for 2018. So with that, I invite you to, if I can find it, I have an affirmation somewhere. Let's just read it up here, Joe. Join me. I am an open channel through which prosperity flows. I am grateful for a full and prosperous life. I am open to the divine flow of goodness, ideas, and substance. And so it is.
am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Please join me as we bless that which has been circulated here this day, from the prayers and the hugs, the reading, the meditation, and the abundant flow of generous gifts through this community. I know that the gift and the giver are blessed, pressed down to overflowing, as they have stepped courageously into this flow of circulation, knowing that they cannot outgive God. And I know too that Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living is a grateful receiver as it receives these gifts to continue our mission both inside and outside of our community in creating a world that works for all. We are truly, truly blessed. And so it is. All right, I want to close out with a couple of announcements. First, I want to acknowledge our beautiful flowers this morning, these lovely white roses. They were sponsored by Susie Black. Thank you, Susie. She says, thank you, Scottsdale Center for Spiritual Living. Namaste. Namaste to you, Susie, as well. Anybody can be a part of that. If you'd like, you can talk to the folks at the member guest services table. That's where you can find all the information about our community and classes and all those things coming up. A reminder, we are not having Wednesday nights meet up this week. We're taking a time out, but we will be back on the 3rd. The 3rd is our vision boards with Reverend Karen. If you can let us know if you want to come to that so we know how big of a room to get, because it's always a very popular event. I'd like to know who else is coming for that. Suggested love offering to support Reverend Karen is $25 on that. And Foundations again starts on the 9th. That's what, 2 weeks? Starts on the 9th. If you're interested in signing up with that for that class with Reverend Glenn, there are folks out on the table as well. And I want to say thank you to, I think I did on Thursday, but it was a full evening. Thank you to everyone that assisted with our candlelight service on Thursday evening. It was beautiful. Point of Light was amazing. Joe was amazing. And it's up online if you would like to watch it. We recorded the entire thing so you can see the songs, the talk, the candle lighting, Christmas carols, everything. It's all right there for you if you'd like to experience that. So thank you again for that. Next Sunday, the 31st, it's our burning bowl, where we burn away 2017 and we set our intentions powerfully for 2018. It's always a very popular and fun service, so I invite you to join us for that and be thinking about what you want to write on that flash paper, because we do have our burning bowl ceremony during service next Sunday. And a reminder, Miss Suzanne, thank you for your high watch this morning, your prayer. She's available to you for prayer now if you would like. And we have a gift for everyone this morning. It's Christmas Eve, so we brought you presents. I was telling Lori about a tradition in my Methodist church when I was growing up as a child, that we always had a little nativity pageant every Christmas Eve and did the candle lighting thing. And then we go down to the basement of the church where we had a Christmas tree and Santa would be there. And the ladies of the church always made up these little gift bags for everybody. And it was always a treat. It always had the same stuff in it. Whatever. But I was telling Lori about this, and she said that's a great tradition. So we are looking at, this might become a tradition, so be sure to pick up your gift bag of surprises when you leave this morning. So thank you, Lori, for putting those together. They're beautiful. And I'd invite you to stand for our benediction. And then Rob is going to lead us after the benediction in Let There Be Peace on Earth. This benediction comes from Ernest Holmes. It comes from Ernest Holmes. And he says, "May the peace of God be with you and your families throughout the holidays and into the new year. Merry Christmas." Merry Christmas.
Peace that was meant to be.